Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Warrior Show presented to you by MMA TORCH. We are back. Finally, it's been a long time coming. Just had a few sort of personal problems going on and nothing too serious, just moving house and starting new things. Sean's got a lot going on as well with his family and sorting out some business adventures for himself. Obviously, growing MMA TORCH and whatever else that he is doing. We've just been sort of planning together on how we can go forward, and we want to get this show to you every week. It's a lot of fun for myself and Sean. I've really missed it, and hopefully everyone watching has as well. But we're back, new episodes dropping every Sunday, and obviously MMA Torch, but it wasn't all MMA this weekend, Sean. However, there was a lot going on. We're going to be talking about UFC 278 first, because how can you not? Also, AJ, Usyk, PFL was in action. Double barrel in London, Sean. I know you were watching, but just quite an interesting thing that two, I'd say, decent shows in London. Bare knuckle and PFL. You had Kayla.
Oh, I watched all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. It's hard. I think, Sean, the main thing is that it was a skill to have been able to watch everything that was going on Saturday, to actually have seen everything that was going on, all the main events. Like that was a challenge in itself.
No, it was because bare knuckle started early, and I was like, it wouldn't start this early, and of course I was wrong. Like everything was not pushed back, but everything was moved up in a way that I was like, man, I'm not prepared. But one of my homies had my back, and he was like, hey, bare knuckles on right now, so that was it. Sorry, the interns getting water. We got a couple interns here still. But yeah, PFL was before that too, and I actually missed most of it. Unfortunately, PFL doesn't. They don't do a great job advertising. They don't get national like ad space and stuff like that. I get it; it's on ESPN, but how are they paying these people? Not to detour, but how are they paying people? Can we? I want who I want to talk about. The Can Crusher, the Queen of MMA.
Well, we are gonna get onto her in the back end of the show. I know you've got some not harsh, but I think harsh but fair comments, because listen, it's a recurring theme in the career. I think I put out something about if Kayla Harrison doesn't fight either Amanda Nunes or Chris Cyborg by the end of her career, what are they going to say? And
she was negative 20,000, a negative 20,000 favorite. That is, people were looking at that like, wait, what? That doesn't even make sense. I saw it and I was like, I didn't read that right. And then I went on Twitter to see that. I was like, no, I got to be reading that wrong. And everybody else had the same question, and it was real. Like, she was a negative 20,000 betting favorite. And it's like, she should be ashamed of that, actually. Not shame. She should feel as if she needs to move on for everyone's sake. She brings great shame to us.
Well, we're going to get on to that's I said harsh but fair, but I don't think that's harsh. I think that's pretty accurate in what everyone else is thinking going on right now. But something that was a lot more competitive, judging by the result, maybe on paper it wasn't, and I think as well, obviously I'm talking here about, of course, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards, but I almost just want you to go, Sean, take the floor, because I'm at a loss for words from what I've seen. Like, I can't believe what happened in that fifth round. Like, they always say, fight till the end of the bell, but even when commentators are starting to go, oh, I think Leon's looking for a
Yeah.
Oh god, that photo will remain in MMA history forever.
He was tired. He wasn't exhausted. He was exhausted for him. He has a hell of a gas tank. We've seen him truly exhausted against Colby Covington that first time. And when you're exhausted, you make mistakes. And that was a mistake he made. He fell for that. He shouldn't have, and he wouldn't have. He would have. He would have blocked that had it been, had he been fresh or had it been the second round. Had it been, it takes a while for you to kind of get into where you need to be. But once you fall out of it, you have to take that same amount of time to get back into it. He, like I said, he wasn't exhausted like you and I. He wasn't just breathing heavy and stuff. No, but trust me when I say this, he fought 4 prior rounds, and that's a big reason why he didn't keep his arm up. A big reason. Yeah, he got caught slipping, but you're much quicker on the draw to put that arm up. You saw it just at the very end come up. It was starting to come up to block that kick. But no, he would have already been. He would have never even went down like that. He would have ended up blocking the kick just to be safe. Had it been the first round, he would have blocked it just to be safe. But when you get tired, you start to make mistakes. So that's where he made his mistake. And Leon Edwards called him so nasty. I never would have thought Usman would have been knocked out like that, unless it was against Masvidal. Leon Edwards knocked him out the way Masvidal was trying to. And now that's the fight we're gonna get.
Well,
he's jumping the line because Leon Edwards gets to say so, and Masvidal is gonna challenge him. He's jumping the line. I know Usman deserves an immediate rematch, but guess what? Fuck that.
I think I'm going to talk about the fight in a second here, but just as we all do, and we all like, okay, what's next? You're 100% right, as in that Leon Edwards, I feel, should get a bit of a say. I don't think he's going to get any say, personally, because the UFC is going to do what the UFC do. But if it was me, my first reaction was, if there's an immediate rematch, Kamaru Usman, like Amanda Nunes just shown you with Juliana Pena, will come back and regain their title. It's a different level of fighters that these people are. We've seen that. We've seen that in the fight. It was a different level. Kamaru Usman was pulling away in the fight, and he got caught. But I believe if Leon Edwards fights Masvidal next, he has a good chance of retaining that belt for a bit longer. It's a big fight. There's history. It's a much more intriguing fight. But I'll get you in a second here, Sean. Just want to say, I think the UFC are going to do the Usman rematch. But if they were to go into the Masvidal route, it would be great for Leon because he would actually get maybe a little bit of time as a champion. I think that he should deserve this little bit of chance of, especially that a guy that had no backing. I don't think he had backing from the UFC in terms of any push. I don't think, he was a relative unknown. I mean, he was known in this country, but not even to the extent of like a Darren Till or a Paddy Pimblett, maybe because of the fact that he wasn't outlandish on what he was saying, but he actually is good. It's hard maybe sometimes because he's from Birmingham. It's a quite distinct accent to understand. So when he speaks, maybe people in the US don't really relate and can't really maybe understand exactly what he's trying to say. But he is quite good on the mic when he gets going, and he can talk a bit. And I'm just glad that maybe this time as champion, he's now going to get to see that. But like I said, I think Usman will be next, but you never know. Masvidal.
It's Masvidal, man, because and I bet you this. I bet you something magical. And I don't mean this in like a conspiracy theory way. I bet you something happens with Usman. He goes, I can't go. Sorry, guys. Masvidal right in there. Just book the Masvidal fight. 2 things. If you book the Masvidal fight, do you think that Usman won't fight Edwards again? Because he is 1-1. He's going to want to avenge that loss.
For sure.
He's going to pick Edwards to fight next anyway. Let Usman knock Masvidal out again, and then let him fight Edwards, or let him go climb back up the ladder, man. This is how this works. It's not your time. The storyline is it's with Masvidal and Edwards because Edwards got punked, because Edwards is soft. That doesn't mean that he's not highly skilled, okay? He's soft, though. We saw him get punked. Now, if he knocks Masvidal out, we can't call him soft anymore, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we have to switch it to, well, maybe he just didn't want to do it right then, right? Maybe there was something else going on. But Edwards will pick. Edwards should pick Masvidal to fight, and he should beat him. He might not beat him because Masvidal could trick you. I mean, Edwards started to get pieced up by Diaz at the end.
Yeah.
If Masvidal gets him, he's going to turn his lights off. Usman was cleaning him up in that second round, I think it was. He was cleaning, I don't know, one of those rounds, he was cleaning him up, man. He was just getting in there, clean strikes.
But there was fatigue in there from Leon, wasn't there? He was really fatigued.
A little bit.
The altitude was a big factor in those fights, just throughout the card.
Yeah, he also he used a lot trying to take him out at the end of that first round. And a lot of people like, oh, see, it's coming back. No, like, they paced themselves very differently. I don't know how that fight would have went if they both had the exact same thing going into it, because Usman did not understand how good Edwards really was. Like, he didn't understand how skilled he was. He didn't remember it because he hadn't fought anyone that skilled since Leon Edwards. We're being fair. I mean, yeah, we know. See, this is the thing. We might clown Leon Edwards for the 2-piece and the soda and all that stuff and getting slapped, but he still is super skilled. I wouldn't pick a fight with him. I can say what I want here, but I'm not going to pick a fight with him. I'm not going to back down, but I'm still not trying to fight. And he still has the skills and the tank to deal with someone like Usman and someone like Masvidal. They're two completely different guys, though. Usman started using his wrestling and just taking down Edwards at will, because Edwards did not get his stamina back until round 5. It took him that long to come back. Think about it. He got completely dominated until that kick.
Yeah.
Round one, if we're being real, he 10-8'd Usman. Anybody saying it was just a 10-9. Now he 10-8'd him. You the champ, and you got taken down for the first time in your career, and it wasn't lucky. He almost submitted you. That's a 10-8. I don't give a fuck who you are, Usman. You got 10-8'd in that round, right? And then it was just 10-9 the other rounds because it was just regular stuff. There was he didn't have Leon Edwards on the ropes the way Edwards had him on the ropes. So he got 10-8'd in a round. And then, Edwards didn't get his stamina back to the 5th round. And I didn't know what he was waiting on, right? I was like, he wasn't necessarily waiting when he was just being outpaced. And then he saw Usman, with that kick. He set him up perfectly. He saw that Usman didn't have it. He waited. I mean, damn near literally last minute, right? But like I'm saying, Masvidal has a much greater chance of beating Leon Edwards than Usman did, because he's going to keep it standing. He's not. All that wrestling Usman did tired him out, and Edwards just bided his time. He didn't really do much. Think about it. What did you see Edwards doing besides holding his own? He was just in there kind of doing this. He didn't do a whole lot. So I think the move is make Edwards versus Masvidal, and then let Usman pick Edwards anyway. If he knocks out Masvidal again on his way there, so what? Okay, good. If he loses to Masvidal via knockout, then we just got to watch Usman rise through the ranks again, right? So we win if we lose if Usman gets the belt back, because Masvidal can't fight him. Colby Covington can't fight him. But with Edwards being champion, we get all these other fights. So we need him to retain. They got to go that route. It's not about Usman deserving an immediate rematch. It's not. It's about how the hell are you going to sell the rest of these fights? Because you're not selling me a Masvidal-Edwards fight after he loses the title.
That's a good point as well. I was going to go back. I'm going to go into the fight in a second here, but I just like that point where there is a few, dominant champions in the UFC where, you look at a Rose Namajunas with a Wei Li Zhang, and no one really wants to see another fight of that really soon. But because now Rose has been defeated very strangely by Carla Esparza, we can now immediately get the Carla Esparza Wei Li Zhang fight, which is next, because of that change in belt and a change of a dominant opponent that
exactly
and now you get that Usman. We don't want to see Usman versus. I mean, Kobe Usman is great fights, but I don't. We want to see new, fresh blood, and because
we don't want to see Masvidal again either, and that's the problem. We don't want to see it unless there's something to gain, and Usman would be regaining his title, so that's the thing in it for him. Otherwise, there's no. They would say, "Oh, winner of Masvidal Edwards gets Usman." We don't want to see that again. If Usman if he beats Edwards for the title in an immediate rematch, and then Edwards and Masvidal fight, the winner gets a rematch with Usman. We don't want to see it like that. That's not how you tell that. Yeah,
it's got to be done in the right way. I agree with that. I mean, Sean, just the fight though. I mean, the first round, I've been watching it and I'm seeing Leon Edwards take down. I mean, they say the first ever takedown for Kamaru Usman. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen Colby Covington take down Usman, but just wasn't put on the record books for a weird reason. I think DC said it himself that was a takedown. But whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's more about the accomplishment of because now that Usman is reaching such heights in MMA and becoming one of the best to ever do it, it's like any little accomplishment is looked at as an incredible task. I mean, Dean Thomas on the commentary saying, Leon Edwards is just looking for a moral victory by lasting to the fifth round, and the fact that they were saying that as he 10 seconds later knocks Usman out cold, it's just one of those. I said it for me. Just the way the fight was going, Leon Edwards, you said 10-8. It was a phenomenal first round, best start that he could have asked for. Then Usman picks up the gears as he normally does, a bit like Petr Yan, who gets better as the fights go on. Usman is definitely like that, can just get better, pick it up, and for him to have dominated Leon in the way he did from 2 to 4, and winning the fifth, and he was winning the fifth round. He was going on to a 49-46 decision unanimously, and for Leon Edwards to set it up with a left hand, and that kick, I mean, you could see the sweat come off of his face, much like he did to Masvidal, Sean. For me, it's one of, it might be the most shocking moment in history of the sport. I think because of Nunes, and we're talking recency bias here, because obviously there's great moments in the sport's history. You think of Nunes losing her title to Pena, and I think, remember, we talked about that right afterwards, and we were talking about Nunes and the camp and COVID and lack of motivation to challenge opponents and stuff, and it felt like there was excuse, and she said there was injuries in that camp. There seemed like there was reasoning behind why she lost that fight, and for all that it was a massive upset, I think for this one, considering there was no issues from Usman, he looked great, he looked like himself, he was dominating to a decision, and for all of a sudden to be knocked out cold against the guy, yes, Leon Edwards is a top guy, and it was, the betting odds weren't like crazy different, but for him to do that, for me, it might be the most shocking moment I've ever seen in the UFC.
I would say because at least in recent memory, like you said, because Amanda Nunes, here's the thing, they both fell victim to the same thing. Why am I doing this? Usman he snapped out of it, after the first round. He snapped out of it when that bell rang, and he was like, hey, I got to get in there. He did his thing, and you got to do it for 25 minutes. 25 minutes, not 24.
That's what Kevin Whitman said, didn't he? He said, no mistakes, stay disciplined in, I think, the second round, and one moment.
He did not protect his head. And it's not just that it was hid well. He didn't. Why are you not protecting why are you not doing this anyway? You should be doing this anyway,
Slips
man.
left. And,
why are you doing this? As soon as you do this, you can't bring your arm up. Look, it's easy to do this, right? I can do this. You can't do this. I can sneak a foot in there real easy, but he was going down and it was like, for one, he fell for it. That's why he was kind of going down. But like, you gotta always stay here. You don't know when his foot's gonna come up like that, because if it's not telegraphed, you're out of there, because it's a foot. It's coming from you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't see it, and you don't see it anyway. Actually, you don't see it until you
Yeah, he
see
didn't
his
see it
thigh
coming.
moving. Like, he probably saw his thigh moving up just a little bit, and he was out cold by then. Like, that's why you get knocked out cold, because you don't see it. He didn't see this at all. Well, he saw it last minute because you saw his arm start to come up, but like, it was too late. It was too late. When you are at the top,
Mm.
you are in danger of the steep fall that's
Yeah.
behind. Like, that's why I said people say it's lonely at the top, because it's a steep, it's a hill. You're at the top of the mountain, but like, at the top of every mountain, it took a rise to get up there. It was steep getting up. It's
So
gonna
much
be a
work. So
Yeah,
much
and you
work, isn't it?
plummet going down. But it's a triangle. You're gonna tumble down the same way. Actually, it's a little bit more steep on the other side, but you're gonna tumble down the same way you came up. So, he was at the top of the mountain, just like Amanda Nunes, and that's just the other side of the mountain.
It's victory and defeat, isn't it? It's the agony and thrill of you know losing everything. Literally, Kamaru Usman, the in many people's mind. I know we're talking about recency bias here, but I mean, he's regarded pretty much as the greatest welterweight of all time. You got GSP there, you got Tyron Woodley, what he did in the sport, but Usman has took this to another level where it's almost like, Sean, it's Canelo level of when you watch Usman, you think there's no way this guy can be beat, and I think the only way that he can be beat is what you've seen last night with a one punch or one kick knockout. It can't be a flurry of punches because he's too clever for that. It's something he can't see
Yeah,
coming, and I just it's what you said there is really hit. It's what
we
it
we
is.
got to stop. We got to stop saying people can't get knocked out, because we've been wrong about that shit like
Oh,
three
for sure.
times straight.
Anyone can get knocked out,
Right,
but it's
Canelo,
got to be
Amanda
the
Nunes,
perfect one.
like, it's
It's
all happening.
it is happening. These people
I
that
mean,
you're.
not knockouts, but just losses in general.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I
we
mean,
start to see that.
yeah, because let's be honest. As the fight's going on, before the fight, like Usman's building this because of the title fights that he's won and the big. But he's took such a level. He's went to a different level, not only in his fighting ability, but just his aura. Like he's now becoming, before people didn't think he was exciting. He was predominantly a wrestler. Now with the knockout power he possesses and the big fights he's been in, the Kobe fights were brilliant. His personality is coming through and stuff. It was all building, and this championship run, with the pay-per-view points and the bigger salaries that you would hopefully be getting, all of that to just go in one moment, especially when you're like 4-1 up. You know,
Greatest of all time was on the line, and we all knew it. And I was like, okay, well, he's going to be the greatest, blah, blah, blah. Now we're going to have this conversation. Nope, bam, gone. But see, you can lose. He got knocked out. I mean, man, that was bad.
Oof,
Like, that was
oof.
really
That
bad.
flow was crazy.
Because
That flow was
GSP,
crazy.
GSP, when GSP lost, it was not like that. It wasn't
No,
like that.
no.
Sure,
I
he
didn't like
lost.
GSP. Yeah, Matt Serra. You know, you think of great. That's another one that was a shocking moment, but
Yeah, man,
this
but it
one's a
was
different
not that
level.
shocking.
Uh,
It wasn't shocking quite
the way
like that.
Usman's eyes were when he was lying on his back was the way I was sat watching
I
him.
didn't even know how he had gotten knocked out. I watched it. I saw it. I literally looked up the second before he threw that kick to knock him out. I just saw him go. It didn't even look like he was knocked out. I just heard cloud. I was like, what? And he was gone. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
It's got to
like
be
I
yeah.
had no idea that he was not. I mean, I got it, but I couldn't process it. I was like, did he just get knocked? Kamara Usman got knocked out cold right in front of me. And like the way he folded back, like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I thought the round was over for a second. Cause like I didn't pay attention for that. Cause it was coasting. Everybody was coasting. I thought it was just finna go to decision. I
Yeah.
turned around. I was working on a book. And I'm writing the book, people. I threw it in there casually.
Yeah, just that little plug. That
Right.
little plug.
So I was writing the book and I was working on my book and I was like, I looked up. I was like, let me look up before the fight's over. And it was like, I was like, oh, I was like, what? I thought he was rolling over because the round was over. Like how some people just kind of play around after, and nope, he was out.
Well,
You could,
yeah, it's like those. I think those ones add to it. The specialty of what happened is when you are watching a fight and you just build up this idea in your head like, oh, this fight's done. Like sometimes you watch a fight and you know that both fighters don't have it in them to finish the fight, maybe through
yeah,
fatigue, lack of skill set, lack of a game plan of combinations, like setting up shots rather than just trying to go for it. And it's late in the rounds and you're going, okay, this is going to decision. What's next? That one, it doesn't get bigger because of how big it's the main event. It's one of the best ever fighters. He's defending his title for the seventh or eighth time, and it all comes down. And it's in the fifth round where he was coasting. He wasn't necessarily coasting. He was still putting the pressure to him. That's what Usman does, but he didn't need to. He could be coasting, and for the fact that it was in the fifth round, a one kick KO, he fell to the floor. I think those are the best ones, Sean's, because you're not expecting it. Sometimes you watch like a Gaethje Chandler and you think this can't go. I mean, it did, but you think, okay, someone's going to get knocked out. You're preparing yourself for that
yeah.
carnage. Whereas this one, it was fiddling out. It was coming to an end, and then it happens when you're not expecting it. I think you look at the video footage of Edward's team back in the UK watching on the big screen. I think they would have all been sat there thinking, it was
Yeah.
he's done us proud, but like this is.
I mean, and it's Usman, so it's not like it's
exactly
a bad loss. You accept it. You say,
it's Usman. It's like,
yeah, this guy's
it's
great.
Jordan. It's
happy to lose to you. Then yeah, he was Jordan, and then he got turned into Clyde Drexler. Not that Clyde Drexler's bad. It's just like, nah, he's not the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Turned his ass into Larry Bird. Like, nah, you just Bird or Magic. Like.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Well, I know you usually transition, but I'm transitioning for this.
Yeah, you do what you want. I'm still for lost for words, so it's good.
Luke Rockhold retired. It was a little sad. A lot of people, he was a joke for a while. Because he knew how good he was, and then he started acting like he was better than what he was, and then so I went from being a big fan of his to hating his guts to now respecting him that he's gone. Respecting him again that he's gone. Now that he's gone. It was the Chris Weidman stuff. It was unnecessary, and then he made Bisping a champion. Like, it's all Weidman's fault because Weidman should have never actually lost to him. He shouldn't have. That's Chris Weidman's fault. Now he's gone. I think. Did he retire?
He's not. He's coming back, but
he's gone. He's gone. We're not.
Yeah, when guys. I mean, it would be somewhere under the same for him to come back.
I know he broke his leg, but he talked all that shit. He might be having a lot of setbacks, but for now, is there if there's something in between the bum couch, he's on that.
Missed the bum couch. We've missed hearing about the bum couch, I think.
Well, Luke Rockhold, he's not going on the bum couch. Even though he retired, sure. It took him so long, and he came back, and I'm glad he came back to have that fight. It was sad to hear him say, "I'm old, I can't do it anymore," because I think he can go. Like, he didn't have a terrible fight, He
looked, just to your point, he looked really good.
Yeah.
He looked really good, but if he just had I kind of want to say a normal cardio. That was an abnormal cardio performance from Luke Rockhold, from a guy that, cardio and gas tank and can he go that was never in his career a problem.
It's the fight game. We saw what Usman did at the last minute. When you let up on that gas tank, if you start to run dry, then you won't do stuff. You won't
But it was
think to do
different,
it.
Sean. It was
Yeah.
hands on his knees from I think 2 minutes into the first round. I mean, I've never seen that.
Yeah. No, he was tired of shit.
That was
He was tired.
different. That was, I mean, it was a
Yeah.
crazy fight. It was an absolute crazy fight because of that cardio. But I don't know. That's what I got. I mean, did you not think that? Like when you were watching it, like this is really. I mean, yes, he's 37, not fought in 3 years.
I just think, yeah, it was that, man. It was just a layoff. It was the ring rust. He had no idea how much
Mm,
he was putting into it. He just forgot. It happens, like Usman forgot too. Like Kobe Covington can take him the distance. That's one thing, right?
mm.
But he only fought him twice. And the first time they fought, he was in danger of being knocked out. He was exhausted, like truly exhausted, for him and for me and you. He was exhausted. And fatigue catches up with you in two ways: physically and then mentally. Mentally, didn't get that hand up. Mentally, you just got to keep it up
Yeah.
anyway, right? Mentally, he just did not do it. And there's no way he doesn't do that if he's fresh. He'll just do it just because. Even we see fighters do this shit just for no reason. It's like, man, nobody's even trying to kick you there or punch you in the head. They just automatically block. And he should have automatically blocked, because that would have been his blind spot if anything were to go wrong. Guess what? That shit went way wrong for him. But in the case of Luke Rockhold, it's just like Usman, he was not ready for the cardio he would have to display, even though you've been there before, right? You've been there, you're a champion, you get it. But when you in there, it's different. Like when Usman was getting choked out in the first round, you think he was like, man, I knew this was gonna happen. Like, no, he was like, what the hell? Like, I forgot how competition truly feels. And then he had to get his ass back in there, and then he realized, going into that fifth round, sure, you're winning, but he should have stayed on him. He should have pressed the issue so that Edwards' cardio would have been a problem.
Edwards
I don't know.
cardio was a problem, I thought, but just not. I mean, I think DC said before the Edwards Usman walkouts that are just before they started fighting, that the difference from the Rockhold Costa fight in terms of a cardio, you were going to see the difference in level due to it being title fight, these two being top two guys in the world. But the altitude seemed to really hit. I mean, the wrestling of Kamaru, he drains people. That's what he does. But Edwards was struggling, and you're right. Usman was tired as well. Of course he was. It's a grueling method to his domination in the way he fights. I was just like, especially against Paulo Costa, and sometimes the way he looks in the cage and how tired he is.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised he did. He looked better than Rockhold, and that was super surprising.
But
Yeah.
he's changed, I think, Sean. I think the time off. I think he was looked at as a laughing stock from the Izzy fight. I think that really hurt him, and the way his reputation, the way people looked at him, he sort of became a joke.
Yep.
Yet he still possesses not just the power, but you look at his combinations, you look at the strength, obviously, the physical attributes, the athleticism. Yes, and the wrestling. I mean, the wrestling, I think, was a degenerate of the fact that Rockhold was that tired that he couldn't. It was like when Glover against Yuri. Yuri submits Glover. If Glover wasn't as fatigued as he was, and didn't make decisions, that would never have happened because of the.
And that's unfortunate, but that is part of the game. Like, if you can't do it,
yeah.
That's how Stipe beat Cormier the second time, because the first time he got knocked out, and the second time he was getting his ass whooped, and Daniel Cormier was destroying him for 4 rounds, or 3 or 4 rounds. And
4 rounds, yeah.
Yeah, and then he had finally figured it out, and Cormier could not push that pace anymore. So it's the same thing with Usman. If you're a minute under, you're a minute under, man. That's not good enough. He couldn't push that pace. He he got just tired enough to where he couldn't push that exact same pace for one more minute. Doesn't matter, man. You know, like we saw the Korean Zombie, you know, get knocked out at the last second. So that's how long you got to fight, to the last second, man. You're not saved. You're not saved from the bell. You know, like you have to go out there and do it for the entire time. And Rockhold forgot how long that really was. And Usman did for that first round. They both forgot how long that truly is, you know?
Rockhold's was crazy. I mean, it's like he'd never been in a fight, Sean. It was like the hands on the knees as Paulo Costa, with the power he possesses, is standing literally a foot away from him. Like at that point, it was like, I don't care. Like I'm that exhausted. The mouth was open, the blood was running down his nose. His coaches are trying to do everything to sort of say, look, come on, we need something here, and he just had nothing. But the fact that he was able to go to the end, and you see, I think
I think he shouldn't have retired. I mean, I don't know. I'm being selfish.
I think he should have. I think it was a good way to go out. Yes, it wasn't that competitive. I mean, he did have a lot of leg kicks in there, but you get a sense of watching the fight. You know, Paulo Costa was winning those rounds.
In PFL, I see him dominating. Like, and I'm just saying, look at Kayla Harris. Is it Harrison? I always mess her name up. Is it Harris or Harrison? It's Harrison, right?
Yeah, Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah, I get kind of, I don't know. I do that sometimes now. Like I get that stage fright where I mess up somebody's name, even though I've been saying it for years.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, you're saying that. I see what you're saying. You know, Luke Rockhold, he is at the top of the division. He was fighting, I think, number 6 guy in the middleweight division of the UFC. You put him in a PFL, you put him in a Bellator. You're right, Sean. He would fare a lot better, and that's no knock on either. It's just the reality of where the divisions and the promotions are. It's just, I feel like it was a good time to call it a career. He was 37, 3-year layoff. He looked in the build-up. I loved the build-up. I loved what he was talking about. He was talking about fighter pay. He was talking about the disrespect that athletes get in terms of the way they are portrayed, the sort of the tight hold that the UFC have on them. And he was talking about all that, and at the same time, he was fired up for Paulo Costa. He was saying, "I'm going to do this, do that," and it looked like he had the fire back. But as soon as that fight started, he did get to the end, which showed great like perseverance and stuff. But
yeah, Costa was too much for him, man. He was too young, too strong, too skilled. Mm-hmm. I think Luke Rockhold beats him. Luke Rockhold in his prime beats him. I think he beats him, but like
it's different Luke Rockhold now, isn't it?
Yeah, if Luke Rockhold had a fight before Paulo Costa, I think it goes very different. And I was kind of like, man, Luke Rockhold hadn't fought in like, I don't know, like it felt like 20 years. I'm like, dude, like you can't come back and fight somebody who pretty much just had a title shot. Like that's how good they are. They're at the top of their game to where they just lost to a champion, and like not just a champion, a guy who could go up and challenge another champion. You know what I'm saying?
I think as well. That's a good point that you make there, because I think Luke Rockhold, he's picked Paulo Costa. He said, I chose him because it scared me, but I feel like I can get at him, I can break him and things. And I think Luke Rockhold was focusing on, like I said, the reputation that Paulo Costa once had of being a bit of a joke. The way Izzy beat him, it felt like, okay, this is what Paulo Costa is. You know, he makes jokes, he's funny on Twitter, you know, but he ain't a great guy, a great sort of middleweight contender. But no, he is. It's just that this new look as well, he looks like he's got his weight under control, which was a massive issue in the past of like trying to how he makes that weight, Sean, is ridiculous.
Right.
But now it looks like it's very controlled. He made it with a half a pound to go. You know, he could have been 186. He was 185.5. This looks like a Paulo Costa that's not messing about anymore. It looked like he was sort of like half in it. You know, like, oh, yeah, you know, I can do what I want. Look at me. I can, you know, I'll get there. But now, okay, Luke Rockhold wasn't ranked. Maybe it doesn't progress him to the title picture that much. But I was impressed by Paulo Costa, and I think the fans were either impressed or they're just now warming to him. Like, he's got a great reception.
He redeemed himself because he's not a clown anymore. Like you said, he got embarrassed that last time, and he was the laughing stock. He doesn't want to be that. He realized that he could be a fan favorite, and we want him to be. Like, we want stars. We don't want clowns. And he just stopped being a clown. Like, he knows where to put his clown stuff now. He's compartmentalized it. Like, he still makes his jokes, but they're tasteful. They're not stupid. They're
on
not,
Twitter as well, where it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean?
They're not making them look bad.
Yeah, that's a good look, I think, for an athlete. You know, say your jokes on Twitter where you know it's a bit of fun and stuff, but the business side needs to kick in, and I think it did for that fight. I think he took it really seriously, like he should have, because if Luke Rockhold comes out there and knocks him out, where does Paulo Costa go? Takes his ranking, you know, it's a mess of a situation, and thankfully, for his case, it didn't go out like that. I mean, Sean, it was sort of a triple barrel for this card. I think it was a decent card overall, but you know, you look at the three main fights.
And you got Jose Aldo.
I mean, what was your thoughts? I mean, it was a strange fight in a lot of ways, wasn't it? What was your thoughts?
Aldo just didn't have what it took to not be controlled, and like, disappointing because it wasn't an exciting fight at all. Merab was just doing, it was just, doing this typical UFC bullshit. I hope he gets his face blown off with a leg kick or something like Usman did. I said face blown off. He was like, "What the fuck?" No. I hope somebody blows his fucking brains out with a goddamn
exciting fighter.
Boom! Because here's the thing. I get it. You're fighting Jose Aldo, but like, it ain't the same Jose Aldo. And then it's like, why you a bitch though? Like, fight him though. I mean, my bad. I mean, I'm leaking back into the off the record stuff, but fight him, man. Like, that wasn't an impressive fight to me. And Aldo, you know what the problem is? It doesn't tell you a single thing about either person, except that because there's that skill that people can't get past. It's like, well, you got to learn to get past it. That's your fault. But it didn't tell us anything about Merab. It didn't tell us anything about Jose, except that he got frustrated. Because once you get frustrated like that, it's over, right? You're done. You cannot get out of that, and we saw it for 3 rounds. You cannot get out of that, because once somebody has your number in the clinch, you are going to get dominated. There is always, at the start of the round, there's always something like fatigue or just a round starting to where you do have a really tiny window to change the way the fight's going, but it's such a small window. And if that person shoots on you immediately, you're done. Or if that person clinches with you immediately, everybody who ever fought Anderson Silva, except Chris Weidman.
That one's a bit different.
Yeah,
that one's in a category of strange. That's probably another shocking moment. We're talking about the most shocking moments.
He didn't clinch with him because he would have been frustrated. He wouldn't have been able to get out of it. You know what I mean? That would have been the end of the fight if he had ever clinched with him, ever. And we refused to do it. That's why he kept him at a distance. Izzy even he tried to do the same, but Anderson did clinch with him, and honestly, that's why he won the fight, in my opinion. Izzy didn't show me enough, and Anderson Silva certainly didn't lose that fight to me. But I don't really care like that much. But I did have Anderson Silva win in the fight because it was supposed to be Izzy was supposed to impress me so much more, but. The thing is, he didn't clinch, and when he did clinch like once or twice, he lost pretty easily. He lost that clinch because Izzy's not strong in a clinch like that. Not with everybody. Who is it? Jan. Yeah, he got him in the clinch, and he was whooping his ass.
Too much.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, just curious in your thoughts because Merab. I do think he can be exciting, and I think that style can lead to finishes due to the pressure and the relentlessness. Sometimes it works out the way it did in that, Aldo could stuff the takedowns, 12 for 12 on takedown defense, just what Aldo does, great at defending takedowns. But Merab he doesn't stop doing it, so it becomes a over and over again type thing, and the fans obviously start, and people watch and start going, okay, that's not working, you should try something else. But his game plan is to wear on a guy, and it does work. I think maybe he needs to be a bit more, have a bit more of different strategies going into these top fights, which he's going to be in next, because Jose Aldo was ranked 3. I mean, I think Jose's still in amongst it. What are you saying, sorry?
They was gonna give him a title shot, man.
Well,
Aldo was about to get that title shot.
I think, Aldo's going to be in. He's just, he's not, like you said, he's not the same. He's not a prime Jose Aldo anymore, because that was just a different level.
Yeah, if he goes to PFL, they're gonna make a name off of him, man. He better not go to PFL. He'll end up like Anthony Pettis.
Oh God, we don't want to talk about that. Stevie Ray double win over that. Plug to him. No, but I know what you mean, and I think for Jose, it's like I want him to stay around because he still looks good. It's not like he's like, oh God, this is like a legend that's now getting beat up bad. The Yan fight was bad to watch, but other than that, he's looked really good. I love when he got the standing ovation when he comes out. Like he's a guy from Rio, Brazil, and he's in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the whole arena. Sure, that's brilliant. You know what I mean?
He's the legend, man. His WEC days were. Man, dude,
he would kill people with.
How long ago was that, and how great was he? Like he's not that. It's not that he's so far from that. That's the crazy part. Like him falling off.
Yeah,
he didn't have the fall off that Uriah Faber did. He did. I think initially when everybody jumped over to UFC, when UFC bought him, that everybody had a initial fall off, because it was very different. It was kind of like, going from WCW to WWE.
Yeah.
Like they were equal in a lot of ways, but like in terms of competition.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not trying to say somebody's better than the other ones, but it was just like you fight a little bit differently in UFC. We saw some people never even come back from being WEC champions. That one Mexican dude out of Chicago, I can't think of his name. He had a mullet.
What's his name?
I can't. But loved him. He was great. He never, and that's such a shame. He never actually got to where he was supposed to be. But you think about Jose Aldo's WEC days, and how good he was, and how good he still is now. It makes me actually think about Donald Cerrone and how, if this is somewhere else, these guys are winning. Eagle FC. There you go.
Well, you've got these.
Eagle FC, man.
We're talking about Jose, and obviously Merab deserves that. Like, what's he going in? And I think it's quite clear what should happen there. But Jose go to
fuck him. Nope. Yeah, you're gonna have to get that up. Fuck him. He didn't do nothing in that fight, man.
Jose.
He was good in the clinch.
Yeah. No, you're right. It was a it's not probably going to aim to the title shot, but I think he is now 3 in the world, and obviously Jan's fighting Sean O'Malley. We're going to talk about that closer to the time it happens. But I think with Jose, I think he should retire in the UFC. I think he's one of those. He's a legend. He's one of the best fighters we've ever seen, and for him to go off and sort of not chase money, but he deserves to get as much money as possible because of the wars he's given. I just think it would be a better fitting for him to retire in the UFC, where it really started, that dominant run from him. And he's adored in the UFC. I don't think there's many fighters that are actually respected for what they've done. He is one of those few that when he walks around, the PI and walks around the UFC people, that they actually look at him and go, no, you have our respect, you have our love, because what you've done for the sport. And you see with McGregor, him posting about him, it takes a lot for people like that to give any props to guys, and Jose always gets it. He's loved by everyone. It's like a universal thing. But Sean Merab, is he going to fight his brother, his teammate, Aljamain Sterling. I mean, for me, I can't see it happening because obviously the brothers, they're not actually brothers, but you know what I mean, they're best friends, they're training partners. He said it in his interview with Joe Rogan after he beat Jose Aldo that he wouldn't fight Aljamain Sterling for the belt. The problem is if Aljamain Sterling beats TJ Dillashaw and Merab is now pretty much in line for the next shot, considering Jan is fighting O'Malley in October. Do you do a Piotr Jan rematch with Aljamain Sterling should he beat O'Malley? I mean, there's a lot of sort of ways that could go wrong. You know, O'Malley gets the win against Piotr Jan, and all of a sudden it's a Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling for the belt. I don't know. It's a strange one. I mean, the bantamweight division is just so stacked right now. It's brilliant, and you know the likes of Jose still carrying the torch and spreading light onto the division, because I think Aljamain has done well in terms of now becoming a distinctive champion in the division. You know, was it sort of contested before with the way the first fight went, and maybe not the biggest name right now in the division, trying to become that, and I give him a lot of respect for that. He's putting a lot of effort into sort of boosting his profile, the profile of the division. But you do have the likes of Sean O'Malley, Jose Aldo, TJ Dillashaw, for whether you like him or not, he does draw eyeballs to the division. So the division right now is just absolutely stacked. And with this run of fights that we've had, you know, we had Marlon Vera versus Dominic Cruz. Cheeto's got to be in the equation as well. I mean, he has to be in the that title picture if it isn't to be Merab Dvalishvili next. I mean, it's just stacked. You look from 1 till 10, you know, you got Corey Sandhagen in there as well. He's probably had a couple of shots at it where it's not quite gone his way. But I just think that, you know, Aljamain, you know, you got TJ next. That is the fight. Where does Merab fit into this? Does he fit into this because of that dynamic? It's a strange dynamic. You know, they're in the same team. Would there be split coaching? Would you have Matt Serra on one, Ray Longo on the other? If it had to happen, would Aljamain Sterling vacate his belt in order to maintain a friendship that they say is more than the belt, more than that win? I think it's a difficult one. We've seen friends turn foe in the UFC before. You know, and sometimes they have shown that the belt and that goal of becoming a world champion is more than the relationships that they have built. Yeah, so it was a good card overall, but obviously it wasn't the only thing that happened yesterday. It was a massive, massive boxing fight. World heavyweight titles on the line. The rematch, Rage on the Red Sea in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Alexander Usyk defending his titles successfully against Anthony Joshua via split decision. It's hilarious that was a split decision, but
only thing split is Anthony Joshua's personalities. What the fuck is wrong with that guy?
Oh god, we're gonna get onto that because listen, yeah,
it's gonna be a fun episode. You're gonna be either editing this heavily or you're gonna have a disclosure, because my wife just called me. We had to pause the show. Fuck it, it's all off the rails now. What the fuck is wrong with Anthony Joshua? You say we'll get to it. No. I want you to answer the question. We get into it right now. What the fuck is wrong with him?
So, see, on first watch, I obviously, like everyone, thought it was very strange. The way he was speaking, the mannerisms, the sort of like respectful yet disrespectful lighting he was putting Usyk in. But people were saying that, God, that was very strange. That was unlike AJ. I've seen AJ in fight nights where he's not even on the card, come up on the apron and take the mic, start walking about, start speaking to the crowd. And the way he talks it's very strange. It was always quite strange. Nothing wrong with what he did in the past. There was nothing wrong with what he was saying. It was just the way he was saying it I felt was a bit strange, like, because he's this big star in the UK. He says anything, the crowd go crazy. But the way he was speaking was strange. And I felt for that
It's
one,
like he
Sean.
was high. It's like he was high off crack.
Yeah,
You
it's
ever
just a bit
seen
all over
somebody
the
high off crack
place.
cocaine? They do
But
shit like that.
you got to remember, 12 rounds of elite level boxing, he was getting a lot of hits, and I think as well, what I'm sort of taking this to is that people maybe in the US don't understand, but for me, what I see, what I've seen and been to other events that he's been involved in, the level of pressure and the expectation that is on that man's shoulders in this country, I don't know how I would compare it to in the US. Maybe you've got some, like a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant, or in the NBA, NFL, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. He has that level of expectation
Right.
of you need to deliver, but not just deliver, Sean. You need to hit this mark, this mark, this mark, because there is $10 million of revenue generated in this industry. There is $5 million here. You've got to be here for the press conference because we need pay-per-view to go well. You are the face of British boxing. He was the face of British boxing whilst Tyson Fury was away. Now Tyson
Definitely
Fury's
was.
back. But Anthony Joshua, for what he did in British boxing, he allowed other boxers in Britain to come through and be able to make money, and for media outlets to make money, to make content. The access that he gave everyone, and I think these years upon years upon years of having all that expectation, all that pressure to lose the belts, to have everyone doubt you, everyone say, "Oh, you should retire, you should do this," like Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, like
Yeah.
all these guys that have been in there to say all these things to him. I think it was a bit of like, I'm just going to erupt now because I've lost twice. I've been I've been ridiculed throughout this in the last year and a half, but yet everyone is here to watch me, and everyone's here for entertainment that I provide. Yet no one gives me any respect. No one says anything to me. The big thing is, Sean, I think maybe obviously with Fury's troubles with his mental health and stuff, but no one in this country gives the same energy to Tyson Fury as they do to Anthony Joshua when he does something bad. And I'm a fan of both, and I love Fury. But for me, AJ was like the golden boy, but now all of a sudden it's like he's the villain, and like everyone just wants Fury to win now. It's a really strange dynamic in this country, Sean. I don't know.
Who's the one that was who's the black one? Yeah. I mean, I'm just, let's be for real.
But AJ was the AJ.
Those were not the words I was gonna choose, but like since we're under MMA Torch's banner, I didn't want to say certain words. But like, who is the one? Nope, I found a way to say it. Who is the one that people would refer to as a nigger? That is the one, and I don't want you to edit that part out either.
Oh my
You
god!
can't.
I wasn't expecting that.
You can't. But that's the one that they're gonna give different energy to. And I'm not playing the race card. I'm playing that's how it is card. If I'm out on the street, I've had people say some really messed up stuff about me. And yeah, I'm gonna turn down on the cursor since I just dropped an N-bomb. YouTube doesn't care. I'm gonna tell you like that. They don't care about that word. That should tell you something. They don't care. There's no algorithm for how many times you say that. You can say it 1 billion times. But any other word, poking fun at or making fun of, or just a terrible word for any other race, guess what? They got an algorithm for it. You can't say it too many times or they'll, flag you and put you, shadow ban you and all this stuff. But also, and this just goes right to it, Deontay Wilder, he gets the same amount of heat. But what did those two guys not do? Fight each other. Wilder wanted him. He was open. Joshua would not fight Wilder. And that is that's it. Just like Floyd wouldn't fight Pacquiao at his prime, both they were ducking, man. They not both. Floyd's a little bit different. I'll let him have whatever. But I think he ducked Pacquiao. He had some legitimate claims to it and stuff. He wanted to make sure he was clean. I get that part, kind of. But Joshua did not fight Wilder. Why not? You answer that question, and then maybe
Yeah. I think he's going
I
to
mean,
fight him now. I think he's going to fight him now.
yeah, but for what? He's gonna get his ass knocked out, man. He's gonna get knocked out.
Well,
He's gonna
anyone
get
could, yeah.
knocked out badly, badly, because
It's a great
Wilder
fight,
is
though.
nowhere
Great
near.
fight.
Wilder's downside is higher than Joshua's downside. They both on the back end of their careers, and that's fine. I think they're still elite guys, but when they could have made the money and fought each other, they didn't do it because Joshua was scared of everything he was gonna lose. He was pussy. He got called out to be pussy. That's what he's shown himself to be, and that's what he acts like. And he's weird. It happens. Leon Edwards just knocked out Kamaru Usman, who knocked out Masvidal, who slapped Leon Edwards, right? Now, I'm not saying that Edwards isn't soft. Maybe he's just super well mannered, but like you can't have a grown man slap you like that, right? If he gets his revenge in the octagon, well, Masvidal's the bitch then, because he would have beaten you at your own game and legally. If he knocks Masvidal out, we have to remove all doubt
Yeah,
that
it's a good.
Leon Edwards is soft. We can't say that ever again about him because he
Yeah, I
knocked the
mean,
dude out cold and slapped him.
yeah, no, you're. I think.
Joshua didn't do that.
Yeah, that's a good. No. I'm gonna throw this back to you. The way sort of Edwards is, the way he was. I'm sort of saying, obviously two British could have been two British world champions last night, boxing and MMA. One did, maybe the one that people weren't expecting it as much, but the way AJ reacted and the speech afterwards, obviously what I've said on the one hand was the pressure of it all, sort of an outburst. It was emotional, it was passionate, and he has had a lot of things on his shoulders, and he has been the face, and he has done a lot for boxing. But on the other hand, I'm not saying that it was totally warranted and that it was fine. It was weird. It was, I think, a tad disrespectful to Usyk, considering what he's been through, and it was his moment.
You don't grab the mic from him and all that extra stuff. Let him talk. Give him the floor and then say what you have to say. Like you speak
Afterwards.
second. Yeah, you speak second and then say everything you got to say, and they would have respected him. But
it's the way he did it, isn't it, Sean? The body language, the mannerisms of take the mic, but also give him hip hip hoorays for doing what he did for Ukraine.
Kanye West. I'm gonna let you speak, but yeah, that's everybody was doing that. They was memeing him.
Kanye West, the Taylor Swift. But I mean, like for you watching, obviously going to talk about the fight itself, Usyk, and talk about Usyk because he deserves to be talked about, how good he is and what's next for him. But maybe just one more on. Do you feel like the reasoning behind AJ's outburst was to do with frustration from not being able to beat Usyk and sort of get beat up in a sense again, sort of losing a lot of the rounds? I mean, or did you think that he was warranted in some way of that reaction? Like, what did you think? Like, obviously it was a strange reaction, but did you have any sort of thinking of why he did that, or was it more of just like that was kind of strange?
It was it's this. For one, just because you're black and mistreated doesn't mean you get to mistreat others. And everybody, well, black people tend to forget that. I'm gonna say everybody tends to forget that. No, the people it's happening to know it's happening, and they're always scared to speak up because they're gonna be said they're racist or rednecks or something. No. I'm black and mistreated sometimes. My wife just mistreated me. That's okay. I'm not gonna slap the shit out of her.
Though.
Usyk should have slapped the shit out of him, to be honest. She just knocked him the fuck out in that ring for even doing that. For real. Because I would have been like, hey, man, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you can't let me do this. But, like, anyway, he did it because he felt like he wasn't going to have that platform ever again. He got his platform taken from him, literally. He was never going to be in that position. He was never going to make that money. He was never going to have someone listening to him like that again. That was it. He wanted to go out saying whatever he wanted to say. He just knew he probably got in his mind, hey, I got to say something because this is it. And it doesn't have to be it. a man of his stature could go and do anything, but he chose to do that. He could go onto Sky Sports. Who you work for again? Drop some names. Come on, let's name drop.
Well, I work for Sky. Yeah.
Right. What's the other one? I always forget the other one.
BT.
Yeah, BT Sport. Right.
BT Sport.
Watched lots of back in the day, way back in the day. Watched lots of UFC on that.
Oh, for sure, real. That's cool.
Oh yeah, man. Them, yeah. And WWE had Sky.
Yeah.
They were on Sky a lot. Yeah. So it's weird.
They're
I think
now
they
on
switched.
BT.
They switched. Yeah, they switched, which is crazy to me.
But BT do a better. I think BT do a better job at coverage for WWE with Errol Helwani, who's on coverage for BT Sport,
Right.
and a few others. There's more on Sky. It was just part of a deal. We'll just show the program. Whereas here,
Right, they
there's
weren't
social
featured.
media. There's more interviews. It's YouTube channel. It's better. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't understand what they really do over there and what they do in other countries. But like WWE doesn't even need a lot of people. Like they could just go to India and be like, bye, and never come back to the United States and be totally fine.
Yeah, be
Like
fine.
there'll be a revenue drop, but like, so what? You just cut out a bunch of people and do whatever. Anyway, Joshua needs to understand that he can work for a place and have a ton of influence. A lot of ex-football players and NBA players do it, and he could go work for Sky or BT Sport and be fine, right? He could have that platform.
Yeah, he can do a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, but he realized that his 15 minutes were up, and I know it's gotta hurt. And you know, given all that he's done, like you said, he doesn't deserve. The criticism's going to come whether he deserves it or not.
He deserves criticism, but he doesn't deserve all of a sudden just to be like, right, you're done, you're finished, go away.
But it's happening.
Done with you.
Whether he deserves it or not is happening. As a black man, black families and stuff like that, we're taught. Well, we used to be taught you work harder for less reward or for the same reward. That's just to break even. That's okay. It's not about you talking shit to everybody once you break even. You know, like the only person that got to legitimately talk shit to everybody after they made it was Michael Jordan, and he didn't do it until his Hall of Fame speech when it was all in the books. He said, these are the people who doubted me, because he ascended to the highest of levels, he didn't just break even. He worked harder than anybody's ever worked in any sport ever before. You know, and he deserves to be the GOAT because he did not kick up any dust at all until that Hall of Fame speech when he put it all behind him, you know, or relatively speaking. But like, he didn't have to put on a dog and pony show for you again. Never again did he ever have to do that, and never again should he. But he was like, I did everything for you, and you guys still did all of this stuff to me. He had his Anthony Joshua moment, but he had his moment on his moment. That's the big deal. His Hall of Fame speech was that, whatever he wanted it to be. For decades, Michael Jordan had praised everyone and been a media darling. One time, on his time, he said, I'm going to give you all the piss and vinegar that you earned. Anthony Joshua should have done that. He should have humbled himself. It's like, why humble himself? Because if you're doing all this work just to break even, what happens when you mess up? You're going to fall twice as hard, twice as fast. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to break even when it comes to, it's not going to be even-handed when it comes to criticism and when it comes to penalties. It's not. You're going to get something harsher because you already have to work harder. It's just a slippery slope. But like, he's not irredeemable, you know, but his problem was, as I said, what the F is his problem? Yeah. I said, you know, his problem actually is that his 15 minutes are up, and he doesn't understand that he understands that this particular platform's gone, but he has a little bit more, like he has more left. He still
Yeah.
has fights he can have out there. He could be getting his ass whooped for another 5 years. Like, that was a jab. But no, he has another 5 years of contention left if he
Yeah.
plays it right.
Problem is that, yeah, I agree with that, pretty much everything you said, because it was in a sense that it was Usyk's moment, and he took it to start with. He should have given him the mic. He did give him the mic. It was weird. He gave him the mic. He took the mic off him. He said, "Hip hip hooray" for what he'd done battling through the war in Ukraine and then back to winning titles. And for me, it was just he needed to back off and let Usyk, because it's not over, like you said. Like, he can come back. He will, I think that was 12 or 13 title fights in a row. Defenses, winning the belt. It was a lot. He was at the top. Every fight he was in was for the belt for the last, 6-7 years of his career. Now it's different. It's going to be, contenders. And I think it's going to do them the world of good of maybe taking some time off, coming back. A Deontay Wilder for anyone is so dangerous because he's the hardest hitting puncher ever. So
Yeah,
it's hardly fair probably just to put him right back in there with a Deontay Wilder. Maybe, there's a few domestic fights that could be for rematches that could happen. They're big fights. I think, Wilder is that wild card. He always has been, especially when he had the WBC belt. It was like, what do we do with Wilder? He now integrates well. I think Usyk and Fury, obviously, this is what we're going to talk about in a minute, Sean. But this builds now. We do something with AJ. Just let him regroup, because it was a tough fight, and the fight. I think, 'cause I went to the first fight in London. I was there in attendance. It was great spectacle. Not a great fight for an AJ fan, of course, because there wasn't much that happened. But watching the second one, obviously that was in Saudi Arabia. Watching that one, it was a better performance. But I think Eddie Hearn, his promoter, said afterwards he was just too good, Usyk, and he's just better. And there's no shame in that. He was a better fighter. He is a better fighter. He's a better boxer. I think I had it about 9 rounds to 3 overall. I think the judge that gave it, I think it was 7-5 to AJ. It's like, what I thought, Sean, was what's worse, MMA or boxing judges? Because, like, to have AJ win that fight by 2 rounds,
it's hard.
It's a
tough
tough
to
subject.
Because one judge in the Canelo Triple G fight the first time, I was like, what the hell? Everybody's like, yo, come on. Like, Canelo didn't win that first fight. He could have lost, and that would have been fine. I don't know why now Triple G has, the loss and the draw.
Second fight he won. The first fight was a draw.
And that's what I'm saying, but like, it shouldn't have been a draw. He should have lost. Canelo lost.
Yeah.
He lost the fight. It's okay.
Yeah.
Shit, we just saw him lose another fight. Like, we just saw him lose a fight recently.
Yeah, but saying the judges' scorecard, it didn't actually take too much in it because the right man won the fight. What did we think of Usyk, Sean? Because we'll give.
I think I lost you. I think he beat Canelo's ass.
You hear me?
I got you. Yeah, I think he beat Canelo's ass. I think he should beat Canelo's ass next.
You think Canelo should move up to?
Canelo wanted to smoke, whoop Canelo's ass.
What fight? Just do it at like what?
Him.
Do it a catch weight of like 190, 200.
Why not? I would beat the shit out of Canelo Alvarez and then be like, okay, whoever's next, step up. I don't have to call out anybody.
What do we think of Usyk though?
I think he's gonna be Fury. I think he's gonna be Tyson Fury. Yeah, I think he is. I think Tyson Fury. I think Usyk is in his blind spot. I think he's skilled enough to do it, and I think he's in his blind spot. I mean, Fury isn't completely unstoppable. Like Wilder hit him, So I just think that he's beatable. And I think the way Usyk, if he could beat Canelo, if he beats Canelo's ass, then yeah, he'll beat Fury. I think he can beat Fury. I think he does beat Fury. Now here's the thing. I can say that all day, and that don't mean it's gonna happen. So, but also, I thought that Leon Edwards could beat Kamaru Usman. A lot of people was thinking he couldn't. I was like, nah, he possesses all the skill. I didn't think mentally he would do it, but
You didn't think you would actually do it, but you think there was a possibility.
Right? Sure, absolutely. That dude's super. Like, there's not a lot more people skilled than him, as we can see. He has a title around his waist that he took from someone who was perceivably more skilled than him. Perceivably, well, perceivably, he isn't. Fuck it. So, but yeah,
no, that's obviously a big headline for you to say that you would beat Tyson Fury. Not that you're wrong, because I think I put a poll out and it was pretty much 50-50 people who think Fury or Usyk, and my retort would be I don't know. Typical on the fence sort of answer, but in the moment right now, it would be I feel that Fury perhaps is a bit like those Canelo Usmans, where you look at the guy and you think he can't lose, but what's just happened, Sean? They've both just lost. So could Fury be the next one to say? Because every time I say a guy, I can't see where he loses. He loses. So maybe Usyk is. I've called him. I think he's a joker. I think he's the boogeyman of the division. He's a champion at heart. He's an inspiration for what he's been doing in Ukraine. And he's a great technical fighter. So is Tyson Fury.
They're blinded to the fact that they can't see how they lose either. They're blinded by the same things we are. They cannot see how they lose. And once you can't see how someone loses,
both undefeated.
That's it.
Jesus, that's it. This
blind
fight.
spot. That's what I mean by being in somebody's blind spot. Fury has a blind spot. Usyk is in it. That's what I believe. He may not. Some champions be like, no, I saw him there the whole time. Like I was just doing something else. And it happens. It happens. Absolutely. But I think he's in his blind spot. Pena was in that blind spot. Not just in the blind spot, but Amanda Nunes had other things going on. That helps the blind spot. And Fury, he's at the top. Unbeatable.
Unbeatable till he's not.
Yep. He's primed to lose, man.
Oof. I'm getting
it's put some money on it.
Well, the thing is, Sean, like not even just in this country, but in this country, it is the biggest fight of all time of what would have been Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight championships. It probably would have been one of the biggest in American history. Not in America, in the world. It would have been one of the biggest. It is one of the biggest fights in the world because of the personalities, the level of what they're at. But for Britain, obviously, that would have been the biggest. But it's not going to happen. And I think, obviously, it's clear to say Usyk's a better fighter than AJ. He's a better technical fighter. He's a better boxer.
Yeah.
You put Usyk and Fury together, obviously we don't get the domestic battle. We don't get the sort of the build-up that would be... It would be truly epic between AJ and, think of press conferences and stuff. Usyk doesn't really speak the language. Won't be talking too much. Fury, the bullets do is talking for him. That's what Tyson Fury does.
And that's also gonna add to what Fury was gonna be in the blind spot, because he's not gonna be able to get a lot from Usyk, but Usyk's gonna get everything from him, and he has to hype the fight up so much he'll overhype it, and that's gonna be a problem for him. He's gonna what the hell's gonna.
Yeah, no, you're right. Tyson Fury's going to be overextending himself, to build the fight, because he will be, obviously Usyk for this fight would be the A side with the majority of the belts. Whether if say, okay, we're all hypothetical here because Tyson Fury is retired, but should he come out of retirement, I think WBC making an announcement on this a week. Yesterday, the WBC are going to make an announcement regarding his belt. So
they should do it. They should do it at Clash at the Castle.
Tyson Fury should fight someone there, and then at the end bring him.
He should be there. He should be there. He should be there. No doubt about it.
I think he will be there.
If I were WWE, I'd probably have him start something with someone. And he should say, I'm coming. He should announce that I'm coming out of retirement. I want you, Usyk. It should be like Rocky, like straight up like a Rocky movie. I
That would
want
be pretty
you.
cool. Little crossover there. And
Yeah.
listen, it's Cardiff. It's eight. You know, it's a
Why would you not do that?
mega
Then you're on
stadium.
ESPN.
He'd
You
be
get free
cheered by
ESPN.
thousands. I wonder how big that stadium actually is. I think it's 90,000.
90?
Yeah, I think it's 90,000.
Damn.
If it's the Cardiff National Stadium, I think it's 90,000 people.
Shit.
That's why they're doing it there.
SoFi Stadium, where WrestleMania that I'm going to next year is going to be. It's in. They keep saying it's Hollywood. It's in Inglewood. But it's that's 100,000 max.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Whew.
But
it's 70,000 seated, but 100,000 max. So.
Yeah, with the floor seating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I think it's let's put it this way. What percentage are you right now of the Usyk Fury fight happening? Actually being signed and actually
60% at least. That's being very cautious. 85% chance. I'm gonna say it's an 85% chance they don't do it. There's some things that could happen. The money might not be right, and things like that. There are things that could happen, politically, so to speak. So I don't want to say 100. You got to get a guy out of retirement, so it's going to take a little bit more than just the money. And like I said, you say they make an announcement about his title in a week or so. Like I said, politically, there's some things. What if he's stripped or something? Then. Sure.
The problem is with him is that even if he's stripped, it bears no weighting on the magnitude of the fight, because then it just becomes an undisputed fight anyway. Usyk or the WBC has fought out for it. It's still the same. Fury's weighting is that big, and the draw is there. If Fury gets stripped on Saturday of his WBC belt, and then the two contenders for that belt go and fight, and then there's a new champion.
Usyk and who else?
It doesn't make a difference to that fight. Like the draw is still there because people are just focusing on that fight. So
who does Usyk fight? So Fury has to come back and take his title.
Usyk, the way what I find a bit strange in some ways about boxing is that Usyk obviously is called upon all the different organizations, the WBO, IBF, IBO, sorry, and it's in a ranking order of who needs to be called first. WBO or A, I believe, is next. Filip Hrgovic, who was in the co-main event, won. He will now be ordered to fight Usyk before Fury. But because of the politics, like you said, in boxing, it can be it can be changed. Fury will be the guy that he wants to fight. Usyk said it himself in the interview, I'm fighting Fury or I'm fighting no one. So I'm probably about 70% that it happens.
Bullshit. He's fighting whoever they put in front of him, or he's a clown.
Well, there is that as well. He has to fight. There is mandatory. But
you gotta fight. I'm fighting Fury and nobody. Shut up, dude. Just that's that bravado. That creates a blind spot. I'm fighting Fury and nobody else. Okay.
I like what you're saying about blind spots, though. That is a massive point of these big fights. And Fury as well, where he has been. I think maybe because he has been dropped by Wilder a lot, and he's seen that he isn't unhittable, but he feels like he said, unless you stamp me down onto that mat, you put me down with, pin me down to that mat, so to speak.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be tough to beat him, and he focuses really well. He might have a blind spot today, but tomorrow, I don't know. He think about the troubles the trials and tribulations he had to go through. He knows how to focus. He knows how to cut the bullshit out, and he knows how to kick your ass. So I said Usyk beats Fury. Well, that's not without some help. I don't think he beats a 100% focused Fury. No.
Oh, right.
If he's not in his blind spot, no. You need a little bit of help with Fury. I don't think on skill alone Usyk beats Fury. Not at all. I think he gets his ass whooped on skill alone. just no games involved, he gets beat up, just like everybody else. But yeah.
So, just that point of a focus. Let me put it to you this way then. Next summer, 2023, let's say July, August time, Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
Where at?
In
Vegas?
Las Vegas. I think the fight has to be in Vegas.
But are you coming? Yeah. Because are
Yes,
you gonna be attending? You said around that time next year.
Yeah. Hopefully. Listen, that would be a dream. Who would you be leaning to? Both are focus fighters. Both are in good spots. One's WBC champion. One is the other 4 champion holder. You think Tyson Fury?
Fury.
We'll end it like that.
Usyk would have had a lot of. Here's the thing: when you're a new champ and stuff like that, when you're new and you're the guy on the rise, if you're on the rise for too long, or there's a time period where you start to read your press releases and the things they say about you. I mean, if you fill in the hype, you start to buy into it. That's your ass. You're done. They gave John Jones the title fight with Shogun before that hit, or right as it was hitting. So John Jones escaped it. And no, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take anything from him, but then he was able to ride that out, and then then it became a matter of, things going on with him. He had blind spots, right? But I can't get into him because then anyway, John Jones was able to avoid it. Usyk won't be able to with that long of a build-up. A year? No. Let's say a year from now. No, he's going to get caught up in the bullshit. I don't care who he thinks he is. Tyson Fury's been here. He'll still be on top. Tyson Fury's plateaued, right? This is where he is. This is where he's going to stay. Usyk can only go up. If this is the top for him, what's waiting on the other side? A steep fall. So it's just more time for him to create a blind spot for himself. Right now, he's focused. He's where he should be. The Anthony Joshua thing will probably put a chip on his shoulder. He can beat Fury right now. Right now. As long as he's not full of himself. But how do we know he's not? When you say statements like, I'm fighting Fury or no one, well, you clearly don't know how the fuck this works. He does. Like, it's like you don't know what's going on. It's like, I get what you're saying, I get what you're doing, but it's useless to say that because that's not reality. In reality, you should say, whoever they put in front of me, they're gone. Well, make them ask you the tough question about, do you want Fury? Well, yeah, eventually, but right now is the next fight.
That's a great point because what I said earlier about Anthony Joshua and the things that he had to do is exactly to that point. Usyk saying it's Fury or no one, you're saying it doesn't work like that. You're right, because if it was like what Usyk's saying, we would have had Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury 3-4 years ago. If it was just like, I want to fight him and no one, there's mandatories, there's obligations, there is arbitraries, which is what caused Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 3. Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 3 happened because Wilder went to court and demanded a rematch with Fury. Otherwise, there was almost signed contract between AJ and Fury to fight. And I just think, Sean, just to round up third here on this Fury, Usyk, AJ saga, what would have been for boxing fans had Deontay Wilder not went to court that day against Tyson Fury and took the step aside money, and Alexander Usyk never moved up to heavyweight, we would have had Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Yeah. And I think especially people in this country would have been a lot happier.
Yeah, we end up getting the fights we want, just not when we want them. So I can't be too mad about. Yeah, and I'm just like, it's spilled milk. I can't really cry about it. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Now,
well, Sean, I was
yeah,
gonna move it on to PFL.
absolutely.
Just kind of wanted to say that Kayla Harrison dominated in 1 minute into her fight, moves into the finals
Who did
for
she fight?
another time, called herself the queen of MMA. The floor is yours.
I'm gonna say this about her. I think she looks great. Like when she's athletic thick. Like no. Trust me. Here's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
She is very marketable. A lot like Ronda Rousey isn't thick like that. She's very petite and girly. Kayla Harrison is the type of woman that a lot of men will be like, oh my gosh, she's hot. Look at her body, blah blah blah. She can be the queen in multiple ways. She is dominant where she is, and she looks great. She can go anywhere and turn heads. She could be every man's dream and every woman's nightmare, right? That's what I mean by this. She has a very unique look. Not everybody in women's MMA can look as good as she does, and be because we got Meg the Stallion, right? So like Meg the Stallion, Doja Cat, we got women with who are more voluptuous than the I won't say average woman, but like women who are more voluptuous and go back to a bygone era of thickness in women and sultry era. Kayla Harrison has that going for her. That's great. She just doesn't have the resume to back that up. She's fighting she's fighting Uber drivers, Costco workers, as goofy, dumbass, disrespectful, JJ Redick would say, accountants and postal workers. I don't mind who she fights. I don't care what they do. I mean, firefighters, right? I don't care. I'm taking jabs at her. I'm not taking jabs at them. It doesn't matter that her opponents are cans. It matters that she is unwilling to fight tougher competition. She's unwilling. She's like, they got to come to me. Why? Why should they even come to you? That's stupid. You are the new girl in school, the hot chick. Come in there and take it, man. Who was it? Scott Coker was like, look, call me. You actually got people's numbers where you can make stuff happen. Don't do this social media garbage. Like, it's beneath you. He already put her on the level where she needs to be and say, hey, make the fight happen. You could just come to me and you can come to Dana. Like, it's not even like that. Like, you're the person we want, but you are playing childish games. I know I went a different direction than just busting her ass.
No, because the one thing about Sean, I think
you bust her ass.
I'd gladly. No, but one thing about Sean is like, I think for people that don't know him, like, you would listen to say your take on Kayla Harrison and PFL and where that is, and they go, "Oh, it's just a hater." It's like, no, listen to what he's saying. That was what people think but don't say. Journalists right now that are covering Kayla Harrison and PFL, they are agreeing with her that she's like the queen of MMA, that she's good, and she is really good on the mic. She's got a great personality. If she moved over to a Chris Cyborg and Amanda Nunes, that wouldn't just be a big fight because of how good they both are and the intrigue of who is better, who actually is on that level. Is Kayla Harrison as good as them, better than them, or is she not as good because the level of competition she's fighting makes her look better?
Is Julia Budd in a championship too, or no? Because Julia Budd's over there. I don't know where the hell she is, but like,
yeah, I don't know. But what I'm thinking is, Kayla Harrison has all the characteristics to be a level of what Cyborg Nunes are at in terms of profile, in terms of ability, in terms of being a champion in a respected division, weight class. The problem I see is she re-signed with PFL, having PFL matched Bellator's offer to her. She was going to Bellator, PFL matched her contract, and in my opinion, and from what I've heard, why take the extra risk of fighting people in Bellator and having more sort of risk, if you will, when you're not going to be fighting Amanda Nunes, where you're going to make so much more money. Whereas I'll fight in PFL, I'll make a lot of money because I am a big star and I'm the big fish in that little pond there, and take little damage, have really not the very competitive fights, and have a lot of money, have everyone talking about me. I can see the highs of why she's doing it, and I don't see many reasons for why she should go and move to different promotions when she is doing what she's doing. But I agree with you that if she does not fight Amanda Nunes or Chris Cyborg, or because I don't feel like even in the UFC,
she's not even fighting. So I found out about Julia Budd, but like, I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah. I'll fling you back in this because we're saying the similar things, and people are saying these things, but they're just not. They're thinking them. I just don't think they're really saying them. That she's 155 pounds. Like it's a difficult division weight class to get people of great talent and great ability. Chris Cyborg can make it, whether it's catch weight or whatever. Amanda Nunes could move up to 145 and maybe move into a catch weight or something. Outside of those two fights, I don't think she needs to move out of PFL and needs to go to UFC or something. I think maybe from a marketing point of view, she would become a bigger star in the UFC. Would she get paid the same? I think she get paid more in PFL. That's why she's there.
Right.
Yeah. So
there's yeah. Go ahead.
On you go.
It's just not enough upside to move, and like.
Yeah, we agree. Yep.
The problem is with her saying it. We don't mind if she stays in PFL. Yeah. We don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care. We like it, actually. We're like, man, this girl's dominating. Let us play fantasy booker with your career. Don't play it yourself and then have but you're the booker. You get to leave and you're not doing it and you're saying you're the queen of MMA. It's like, but like, we didn't say that. You're saying it. So you have to prove it. Everything you do is making you look bad. We're keeping you at, hey, she's great in PFL and we love it. She looks good. Everything. Like she's the Becky Lynch of PFL. No questions asked. Or maybe even Bianca Belair. She's both.
Oh, she's all of them. She's all of them.
Yeah, she's both. Yeah, right. She's
everyone. She's Julia Budd. She's everyone.
Julia Budd, right? Because you're right.
Charlotte Flair, like all of them combined. That's how good she is.
PFL needs to do better. They do. Yeah. I think, and we're gonna get into that just a second. Julia Budd, they did. They got Julia Budd, right? Julia Budd got injured, pulled out. And Kayla Harrison talked about how she didn't like it. Caitlin Young is her replacement. I don't know. I want to say I know that name, Caitlin Young, but I could be confusing her with any. There's so many names, man. I'm just not going to say I know her and then I don't. So Julia Budd was disappointed with that. And I get that. Frustrated. Julia Budd, you failed us. You failed us numerous times. There's another one. Get your mind right. Get your body right. Get out there and do something. Because you are the type of thing that you're the type of fighter PFL wants, and they want to test Kayla Harrison, and you failed to do so. And I got injured. Keep your body right. I don't know what to tell you. Like, come on, dude. You can't. I got injured. Well, okay, then quit. Okay, my bad. Quit then. We need somebody that's gonna come in there today. I don't know who Caitlin Young is, but she's probably food, man. She's another plate for Kayla Harrison. Okay, this is what they say on the streets. Caitlin Young is food. She's a plate, a whole plate, literally dinner for Kayla Harrison, because she's going to eat her for dinner. And then off that $1 million bonus. Oh man, I don't know if she's dating anybody or not, but you should throw your hat in the ring. You expressed that earlier. Like, think about it, man. Do you, if you Kayla Harrison's man, You on cloud 9. You know, I mean, like I was gonna say, you don't have to work and all that. You better get her pregnant. Get her pregnant before she starts to get on the decline. Then she can blame it on that.
No, you're right. She has so much going for her, and it's just a shame that, you know, we do matchmake, we do fantasize everyone in the, you know, MMA fans and journalists and, you know, analysts and just everyone does it. We're constantly looking for that big fight, and we do it in all the promotions. We look at guys and girls that are in, you know, one in Bellator, and can Gegard Mousasi beat Israel Adesanya? Oh wait, no, you know what I mean? He's been defeated. It's like, okay, now who do we look at now? Can Demetrius Johnson come back and fight? So
that's another one that fell off too.
Yeah, well, not
fell off, but took that loss. But we were saying how great is it?
Crazy year for losses, isn't it? It's been crazy, but I just mean that if we don't see Chris Cyborg versus Kayla Harrison or Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison, the legacy that she's going to leave is that she was a very, very good fighter that fought low-level competition in comparison, and never, like you said, which I totally agree with, we are the ones that are supposed to matchmake. It's not her that has to go out there and say, all right, I need to move because people are saying these things about me. Focus on yourself. But at the end of the day, the history books will show the level of competition that you fought at, and that will go against how great of a fighter you were. And if she doesn't make the move, no one will. So it actually becomes a point of, I need to get myself out of PFL at some point.
And now let's go and bust PFL's ass. Get better competition in there, man.
But they were struggling to broadcast it this Saturday. It was a struggle to actually people to watch it.
Why the fuck are they paying people so much?
I know.
Well, you don't have to pay them that much. Look,
forget fighter pay. Sean's like, you know,
it's great fighter pay. But like, you're giving them $1 million to beat up my aunt, okay? Who she, you know? My auntie, man, you beating up my auntie and shit. Like,
amazing.
Look, man, my aunt Rosemary, my aunt Rosemary is in her 50s and diabetic. Why is she on PFL?
I think she'd have lasted with Kayla Harrison. I think she'd have gone 5 rounds.
maybe because they put the
better showing. I think
they put the insulin thing in your body now, so it just automatically does it. So she don't have to take the shot. So I'm saying, no, but like my point is, PFL isn't doing. They have a blind spot. Everybody has one. Well, I shouldn't say everybody has one. Everybody can have them. And PFL's blind spot is, we on ESPN. We got this. No, you don't. Do your goddamn job, because if you don't, Kayla Harrison's going to look like all she do is beat up bums. But, like, that's all you put in front of her. That's all you have. You know, to be fair, these aren't the worst people on the planet or something, or the worst fighters. Not at all. It's just that if you are giving that much money, use the money to get better competition. Use the money to advertise. Use the money to scout. Agreed. Get a scouter in there. Go get Triple H. Go get somebody. Go get Kurt Angle. I don't care who you get. Get a recruiter that comes in and brings in fresh talent from places and build real MMA. Okay? UFC they have that show, you know, the Contender Series and stuff. They have a fresh pool that they get out of. Brian Battle's a guy that came out of that pool. Uriah Hall just retired, but think about it. He was a flop and did well. Like he's what's considered a flop. He would have killed people in PFL. Literally. Remember when he was in
remember the guy almost
he almost killed a guy. Like he would be murdering people there. Literally. Like
it's probably Sean, what's hard is that the actual production level when I watch it is quite good. Like, the production level in terms of, you know, the actual visual, what you see on the cameras, what you see from the interviews and stuff and behind the scenes, it's quite high level. The problem is, like you said, the level of competition. The payment structures are good because they're paying fighters really well.
Because they Yeah, and they paying people who like really, man,
But
come
like
on,
Anthony Pettis got 750,000
to get
for,
his ass knocked out.
and he and Stevie Ray got paid 40 and 40. He got the 40. He said it on Ariel's show, and that's a big discrepancy. But they're paying better than the UFC.
But I mean, I wouldn't complain. I'm like, fuck it, man, whatever. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go home. Like, I'm done. How many times are you gonna fight in PFL? Like Kayla Harrison.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. She has no reason to fight anywhere else, to be honest, except for her own personal gain. It ain't for money. She's a millionaire. It's over. She's gonna win another championship if she loses this. If she ever loses in PFL, and it wasn't like weird.
Yeah, controversial.
Yeah, she can forget about it. But like, here's another, presumably, even if she loses, she's rich. Who cares? Who cares? Like her training, once you make millions of dollars, all you do is train, right? It like she's got sponsors and stuff now. Like she doesn't need to do anything else. She can retire as an analyst on ESPN, and that is it. She never has to go to the UFC, and she could be an analyst for UFC stuff. She never has to compete there and still get on that broadcast team. In fact, that's exactly what she should do. She could be next to DC, and you could talk about her competition all you want, but the fact of the matter is it was still competition. It still is. It still counts. Like it just is what it is. We can't deny that she earned a high level of credibility without having to face the sort of fighters we wanted her to. We don't like it. We think it's bullshit, but there's no way anybody should be looking to take her credentials away. She earned them. It is what it is. I think she needs to go out there and just be the face of MMA, and not the queen, but be the face. She is the face right now. I mean, it could have been Pena
It's
had
hard,
she
isn't it?
won.
Because like yeah, I think you're right. She can be, if she isn't the face, maybe she might be. She can be the face if she starts beating high level competition. She can't be the queen because the greatest fighter to ever live is fighting currently right now. So you can't be the queen when Amanda Nunes is there, but you can be the face and you can be that challenger.
Yes.
And you could, the rivalry, the storyline. We're pro wrestling fans as well. Narrative storylines, long storylines.
Amanda Nunes is Roman Reigns right now, but the only thing is, Roman Reigns is also
Kayla
the face of the
Harrison's
company.
Roman Reigns right now.
No, she would be
because she's undefeated. She's not.
She's CM Punk.
Well, maybe
AEW CM Punk.
But we've just seen Nunes
talk a lot of shit and doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Talks a lot of shit, doesn't have the same level of competition. Fighting ex people from who came from big companies, or like she's more AEW CM Punk. By the way, CM Punk, you ever hear this? Kiss my ass. I cannot stand you. Disgusting jackass clown.
We've run out of time for everything about sports.
But like, I respect her.
Wrestling.
I respect her.
Oh, I know you do.
I don't respect CM Punk. I don't respect the fact that she creates this thing where they got to give me competition. Like, well, okay, but like, just shut up and win, and we'll be fine with it. I will say this: if she did just shut up completely, then people will be saying she's scared. So there's a catch-22 to it, and I'd rather her be talking than for her to be quiet and saying, for her, she can't say just put whoever's in front of me. She's got to say, I want better competition, stronger competition. She shouldn't be saying it the way she is. Her delivery's all bad, but she's right to be calling out tougher competition. She should be calling out PFL more, though.
The company, yeah.
Yeah, call out the company. Because people call out UFC, Nagano, everybody. They call out UFC, and they work for them. So go ahead and call their company out.
Or call them out when you're making $1 million, wasn't it?
But just don't do it the way they do it. You could call them out. Don't do it the way they do it. She needs to be more Tim Duncan.
Oh, he didn't say nothing.
I know. Well, she needs to be more Tim Duncan, right?
Okay, but not entirely.
More Tim Duncan, less LeBron James. Because she's coming off like LeBron James, saying stupid shit sometimes.
It's incredible, Sean, that we can bring up a talking point of Kayla Harrison winning in PFL, and we've related it to Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Tim Duncan, and LeBron James, and rounding
we
third,
watch
that's all
sports.
making sense. We
we
are
watch
truly
sports,
back.
man.
We are truly back. We are truly back. The Weekend Warrior show is back, and it's craziness, and I'm loving it. Sean, we have run out of time, but I was going to get to one last thing.
Yeah, get to it. Venom Page and Perry. You go.
Yes,
you take it.
we need to address that quickly before we just give me if you can, in a minute or less of what you felt or what you've seen there. I was stunned.
Mike Perry, can't stand him. Ew. Like that, the term "ew" comes to mind when thinking about him. But man, as a fighter, I think that's where he belongs, and that's man. Bare knuckle is just
type of sport. He was built for that.
It's so gritty, and it's like it's cringe. It's like, oh my god, like
it's horrible. I can't watch it.
I can watch it. You can hear it. That's
god.
You can hear
it's a different
and
level.
It hurts. But Venom Page was humbled. I think he was humbled before it. He didn't seem as into the fight as he should have been, but I like all of that. I think he needs to reinvent himself. I think he needs to humble himself, and I think he needs to streamline that. I think he has a way to get in and get back and actually be back, actually be on top. But the way to do it is a sneaky way. Like go this route, train, get where you got to be, and then do the knockouts. Don't be as flashy, and then all of a sudden, boom, turn it on them, and we'll become Kayla Harrison out of nowhere. But build that resume first, because we already know he's done it. But I want him to build that resume up, build himself back up. It wasn't a loss that he can't come back from, especially being bare knuckle. Like, you can't lose in bare knuckle and anybody be like, oh, that guy's trash. It's like,
yeah, because as well as that, it was his first fight in bare knuckle, and
it wasn't what he thought it was.
Like, he's not like, he was a good fighter in the UFC, decent, good record, no slouch, and comes to fight, but he is probably bare knuckles one of their top guys right now. It's a growing promotion.
He's doing better than ex-UFC guys doing PFL.
Yeah,
a lot better.
I mean, for me, I was thinking this isn't a good look for Bellator, signing off on this co-promotion, sending one of their best guys over to bare knuckle in London, where he's from, and getting beat. It didn't look good. But then at the second-hand thought of a business perspective, you run that back in Bellator now, considering they've done the first one.
Yes.
And
I think he wanted to fight too, to be honest. I didn't think Mike Perry. I mean, Mike Perry I guess he did more damage. Yeah, if you want to go that route. But I think Page won the fight simply because he just looked better. He didn't look his best at all. I just think he looked better. But whatever. I mean, I look at it different ways every time I look at it. So I can see. I'm not mad that Mike Perry won. I'm not. I can see that he won. Fine, But I can also score it another way. So.
Well, Sean, we've talked about a lot of stuff today. Is there anything else that you sort of want to bring up before we close out and on our first episode back to the Weekend Warrior show?
Anything else? Not anything new, but like I said, CM Punk's a bitch. What's up with Colt Cabana, dog? Like, no, you don't claim I'm from Chicago and then you act like the way you act, man. And it's not the AEW backstage bullshit that you and Tony Khan and everybody trying to make us believe. It's you in general. You're disgusting.
You think
Make sure you put that in the description. Sean says CM Punk is fucking disgusting.
Do you think he comes back and fights for a UFC title?
You know what? And he's such a bad fighter, we could fight him. That's how bad he was.
I would put both of us, if we're both allowed in the octagon with him, we take 1 arm bar each.
Straight up, I whoop his ass. But that's I,
That
I
was
once said
still
I
to this
beat
day.
Roman Reigns' ass too.
I thought, Sean, I say Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman, one of the most shocking moments I've ever seen in the UFC history. Another one would be CM Punk being allowed in the UFC octagon against Mickey Gall. Like that's one of the top ones as well.
And
What?
you know who he hates? Brock Lesnar, who actually afforded him the right or whatever to go over there because they
Yeah,
was like, well, Brock did it. CM Punk is on top, and that clown wasted it for everybody.
yeah.
Think about it. Bobby Lashley could be going over there, but Bobby Lashley, Batista, they both did MMA. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Problem is with Brock, he was a legitimate and a heavyweight
right.
champion. It's a different
Riddle
level.
did it too. I want to see CM Punk say something about Riddle. I bet he never would. Like Riddle's that guy that I put up against anybody you have because he will break your neck for. He told Jericho, he was like, man, don't even talk to me because I'll actually beat your ass. Like when the Goldberg stuff was happening.
Yeah,
Like, because he was like, look, Booker T, I don't have any beef with you. And Matt Riddle was talking too much shit. He got humbled. Booker T was like, calm down because I'm a different type of nigga. And he was like, my bad. He didn't cower away. He said, that's not what I meant. Here's what I'm saying. Right? But he didn't cower whatsoever. He told Jericho to shut up or he whoop his ass for real. You know, he was like, all of this is for play. I'll see you in the streets, and that'll be the last thing you say. He didn't say that verbatim, but that's pretty much what he was getting at. But yeah, CM Punk's never going back to fucking UFC or any MMA. He should have been in Bellator if we being for real. They have a rapport with those guys, right?
PFL make the division a bit stronger.
You know what? I would respect that. I wouldn't respect him, but I respect the move. PFL, I would actually respect that. The problem is that would bring great shame to their brand. CM Punk, they're clowns. That would ruin everybody. Well, everybody. Tell me it wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. Listen, we've talked a lot today. We've recapped a lot of combat sports action, and we'll be back next Sunday to do it all again. We've talked about everything, but there's still a lot to come. Myself and Sean are back on your screens every week, commencing now. Good to be back, Sean. Good first show back. I've missed this. I've missed hearing your hilariously but quite intellectual takes on a lot of topics, and no doubt we'll keep talking about it off air. But listen, it's been another episode of the Weekend Warrior Show. There are our interns, as happy as ever, walking around, bringing the light to these episode podcasts, and we'll sign out like that. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you next Sunday.